Hello again, friends, and welcome back to the kitchen. We are here to make some more vintage lunches from 1927. We're using the Women's World magazine salads and sandwiches recipes. I didn't say soups this time. And this week we're going to go with a tomato jelly. Now, if you've been with the channel for any amount of time, you know that I famously do terrible with gelatin molds. Anytime I try to take them out and unmold them, they are a mess. It never goes well. You guys have given me fantastic tricks like try to oil it, or try to put cold water, or try to run warm water underneath of it. No matter what advice you guys give me, somehow I still manage to mess it up. But this time, the jelly is in a loaf pan. So we're gonna try it that way and hopefully it will work. Now, I had planned on doing a different sandwich this time with this tomato jelly. However, on the live call, it would be last week for you guys, last week, instead of doing a video, we decided to do a live call, and many of you joined us over there, and we decided to vote on what you wanted to see coming up next. And one of the things I was going to leave off was the lobster sandwiches, because it calls for canned lobster. And for the life of me, I can find canned shrimp, canned clams, oysters, sardines, anchovies, just about any canned seafood I can find, except lobster. I was going to leave those out, but you guys pointed out that shellfish is kind of shellfish. Why not use shrimp? They would have done that back in the day if they wanted to. And in fact, this Creole sandwich that we're going to be doing today, the lobster Creole, says right at the end to use either salmon or shrimp in the paste. So I assume that means that they also approve of substituting the lobster, even though it's called a lobster sandwich. I really like that you guys are getting to vote and join in and be an even bigger part of the channel. So not only that, but I really think with the tomato jelly, and we are substituting shrimp today, with the tomato jelly and the shrimp, they kind of go well together, kind of like a shrimp cocktail. We're gonna get started first with this tomato jelly. It calls for 3.5 cups. I have this here. I know it's a liquid measuring cup, but this is not baking. It's not an exact science. So if we get about 3.5 cups, I think we'll be okay. Ooh, I just sprayed some tomato over there. I don't know if you saw that. So we're just gonna get these chopped up nice and choppy, and I'll be back when it's ready. We have our 3.5 cups here. And now that we have that, we have our 1 envelope of gelatin powder here. I just used an envelope of Knox gelatin, and I have 1/2 cup of cold water. I'm gonna pour that over top of this, maybe give it a little bit of a stir. It doesn't say to stir it, but I think we should probably stir it. I'll let that sit for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna add everything into the saucepan. All right. Yeah, I think we better stir that. Doesn't smell as bad as I expected. Into the saucepan goes our tomatoes and all of the other ingredients, ooh, that's a little noisy, which includes the onions and the celery. Now, it doesn't say to chop the onions and the celery, but I think it's safe to assume that we're supposed to. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, or are part of the Facebook group, you may have seen me post about this, I don't know, a couple months ago, a couple weeks ago, something like that. And I posted the recipe and I asked, do you think they left out the word garlic? What are 2 cloves? 2 cloves of what? And several of you very politely pointed out, just cloves, Ashley, just 2 cloves, obviously. So we have 2 cloves there. At no point did it occur to me that they could have meant actual cloves with tomato. A few grains of cayenne, and how adorable is this little spoon? Okay. I think that's several grains. I think we can handle a few. It calls for 1/2 of a bay leaf, and this one, I don't know, it's kind of small. I think that's good enough for a 1/2. A pinch of salt, so I like that. I think that's enough. It's probably not enough, but that's what we're going with for now. We've got it on fire here. And on our nice fire, we have it cooking up. Actually, before this gets hot and it starts cooking, I know several of you have seen this before, but how adorable is my little pot. I love this thing. I actually probably shouldn't cook in it because I don't want it to get used and then never be able to use it again. I should probably display it, but what's the fun in that if you can't use your things? I'm gonna get this to a boil and then I'll show you once it's there. We have that rolling boil going. While this is going for the next 10 minutes, what I think I'll do is start rolling those cream cheese balls and get those rolled in nuts so that they're ready to go whenever this comes out of being chilled in a few hours. You can hear the tomatoes boiling over there for the jelly, but we're working, I said I was gonna do the cream cheese balls, but actually I have decided to do this tomato and start the prep for the sandwiches. The sandwiches call for a peeled tomato to be chopped. And as you guys taught me before, one good way to peel a tomato, and actually I think Nani taught me this as well at one point, is to score it. An X is a nice shape. Then dunk it into hot water, just a little bit of a blanch, and it will help loosen the skin right out of that tomato, and then you can peel it nicely. So let's see if it works. It may need to be a little bit hotter. I got a little too excited. I put it in too early. That water needs to be just a little tiny bit hotter. All right, I think this is hot enough. Let's do a little dipsies again. Oh yeah, that's immediately peeling it away. All right, I think we're good. Look at that. And then just take it and peel it off the sides. Beautiful. We have our tomato here. And for this sandwich, I think I'm gonna do half a recipe, just in case I don't like it, and I also have 1 can of shrimp here. So that's the other reason, because I don't want to have to run out and grab another can of shrimp just to complete this recipe. So we have our peeled tomato. I got some tomato on my hands. Give me a sec. We're gonna do half of it. And in this bowl right here, I have a half of an onion chopped up and half of a sweet pepper. I went with yellow because that's what I had in the fridge. If it were, if I were shopping for this and I was like, oh, sweet pepper, I probably would have picked a red bell, but I had half of a yellow pepper in the fridge, so that's what we went with. All of this is going to go in a saucepan, I believe. We have our oh, you know what? I put 2 tablespoons in there, and I realized that I have halved the recipe, so I should only have 1 tablespoon in here. So hold one moment. All right, here we go. There is a tablespoon of butter in there. Get that heating. And to that, we have our finely chopped tomato, sweet pepper, and onion. And we'll cook this up until it can be mashed into a paste. It's frying up pretty nicely, but I don't know that it's ready to be mashed into a pulp yet. I don't know how long that will take to get this to that point. I don't know that we're actually going to be able to make a paste with this. I think we're just going to have chunks, which is perfectly fine with me. Let's give it a little while longer. Maybe I just need to be patient. These are mostly just browning at this point, which looks delicious to me, but they're certainly not cooking down into a paste. So I think we're gonna stop here before I burn them. I'm gonna try and squish them. Oops, I forgot to turn the heat off. There we go. I'm gonna try and squish them on the side like this and see if that will help paste them up a little bit, but we may just have a little bit chunkier sandwich filling than we expected. That's okay. All right, here we have it. We are cool, but not cold. I have my little tiny shrimp, and they are tiny little shrimp. Look at how cute that is. That's probably the smallest shrimp I think I've ever seen. Let's put it in here, get it mixed up. And they do flake, like just holding it. I'll show you with another one. If I pick it up like this and just kind of crumble it, it just falls into pieces and flakes. So I think that's what I'm gonna do with all of it. It smells like shrimp. One thing about this shrimp, the canned tiny shrimp, is I do not think it's deveined. Like, I'm gonna eat this anyway, but I don't know if you can see that. It's just like straight up shrimp bowels. I think that's what those are in there. There's a lot of it in there. Hopefully everything else will cover the flavor. I'm not looking forward to this. I'm doing it for you. Just know how much I love all of you. All right, a little bit of salt. A little paprika. Ooh, a lot of paprika. A little more salt. Yeah, we need to cover up some of that vein taste. And then it said 5 drops of Worcestershire. How do you say that? I don't know that I'm saying that right. I probably am not. There are some that have gluten in it, and I don't have any here that does not have gluten in it. So I looked up a substitute, and it said you can mix ketchup and coconut aminos, and that's a decent substitute. So I don't know how much a drop would have been, so we're gonna estimate in here. That seems about right. Let's get this all mixed up together. And that's what it looks like. Now we have buttered bread here. We're gonna spread it between the two. And then this is one recipe. You know, you guys have asked with several of them, are we supposed to cut the crusts off? Are they like tea sandwiches? You know, tell us a little bit more about that. And it looks like this one actually does specify it, and it specifies to cut in oblongs this time. A lot of times it says to cut diagonally, like in triangles, and this is an oblong. It also says it's to make 30 oblongs, which is 15 sandwiches, I believe. So this would be 7.5 sandwiches. So I think probably the bread wouldn't have been this big. Maybe this is like 4 oblongs. Maybe it would be like 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th. Let's get the crusts off. It feels so wasteful cutting these crusts off. It makes me feel a little guilty. The ducks won't feel guilty about it though. They'll be eating them. All right, we have that. And, I don't know if you could see that. The top came off. Okay. We have a nice oblong there. I don't know what makes this Creole. I don't think there's much Creole about it. I think they just gave it the name, maybe because it was lobster. I'm not sure, but yeah, we're gonna go with it. Let's get our our tomato jelly together. Look at all that steam coming off there. It has cooked down quite nicely. We are now to add the vinegar, and it does say tarragon by preference. And I will tell you, I do not prefer tarragon. I don't really love tarragon. As I have found, there's the third flavor I don't like. No cilantro, no sweet pickles, and no like anise, fennel, any of that licorice type flavor. Just tarragon is similar. No thank you. So we're just going with plain white vinegar. Coming out of the blessed demon vinegar container. This was handed down to me from Nani. It was her mother's, and we bless the Easter basket every year at church. It is a tradition. And in that Easter basket goes vinegar for the borscht for Easter. And this is the vinegar container that has been being blessed every year since my great-grandmother, but I am pretty sure that this is all demonic graphics. I'm pretty sure, but it's been blessed so many times that I think we're good. We're adding our gelatin in. Wow! Until it's completely dissolved in here. It kind of seems like it's dissolved already, but let's give it a little more of a stir. Once this is completely dissolved, everything is stirred together, we are going to strain it to get all of the bits out, the cloves, the bay leaves, all the chunks, and we'll just be left with that liquid flavor. By the time you're seeing this, it's already happened, but pray for me that I don't spill this and get it everywhere. Here we go. I already got a little bit of tomato on this dress, and actually on the microphone as well. There we go. Smells pretty good in there. Okay, thank you guys for your prayers because it worked. We have nothing except what I've already spilled on the dress so far. I'm just gonna kind of move this around. Hasten the process of getting the liquid out, and hopefully the gelatin as well. Just have a fine mesh strainer I'm straining this through. You guys can see it kind of running out. Now some of the tomato is coming out, like the tomato pulp is coming on the sides, like some of that like sauce puree. I don't know if it wants that in there or not, but I assume no because it's a jelly and not a jam. So I'm not gonna scrape the sides. Normally I would take this and kind of scrape to get all of the good flesh or whatever is coming out of there, the jammy bits. But I'm just gonna let it be. This doesn't seem like it's making that much compared to some of the salads that we've made have been very large, and it doesn't look like there's that much in there. But I cannot imagine that this is one single serving. This has to be for everybody. But maybe you only want a little piece of a tomato jelly. All right, I think that is just about enough. And then all of this good stuff, just the other day, I made some bone broth, and I have cleared out my freezer from all of my kitchen scraps and carcasses and chicken feet. So I'm just gonna start the process again. This is going in a new freezer container, and in a couple months, when I'm ready to make some more bone broth, it'll go right in there. We're gonna reuse all of this. That is what we are left with. That looks nice. It smells good. I found a nice kind of medium-sized loaf pan. I have some loaf pans that are maybe like 2/3 of the size and some that are much bigger. So I have some water and a couple ice cubes. Oh, that's noisy. I'm just going to take the water and ice cubes and kind of move it around here because it says it's to be wet with ice water, and then we'll pour this in here. So make sure I'm not forgetting any last step. Stir, completely dissolved. Turn into a brick mold wet with ice water. Okay, so there we go. Now why it needed to be wet with ice water is beyond me because it is extremely hot now, and that ice water was kind of pointless, I think. I'm gonna take this, I'll show you how deep it went. And it wants us to freeze this, or excuse me, chill it for a few hours or overnight. We're not doing overnight, we'll do a few hours. We did have some splashing a little bit, but thankfully it didn't get too much on the dress. So there we have it. It's maybe about halfway up, so hopefully that won't be a problem later. And we'll get this nice and chilled, and in a few hours we'll be back with it. Let's get these cream cheese balls done. We have walnuts. It just says nuts. It doesn't say which type. I think walnuts seem like the right addition to me. In order to get them crushed or chopped or however, I think we're gonna go, we did a mortar and pestle before. We're just gonna go with a good old rolling pin. Just kind of go over top and hope it crushes them right. Well, the oils from the walnuts are certainly coming out. It's absorbing into the cutting board and to this rolling pin. It's probably pretty good for it, actually. I have some softened cream cheese here, and it says, I believe, to mix the cream cheese with the nuts and then roll it in nuts. So, got double nutty cream cheese balls here. Okay, mix that up. I think to roll this, I'm gonna keep my hands a little bit wet, and hopefully maybe the cream cheese won't stick to them too much. Maybe it'll be less messy that way. I don't know. Not sure how large we're supposed to make these balls either. I don't know, that seems like it might be a little big if it's supposed to be an individual portion. Well, this still seems kind of big for an individual portion too, but how about that? What do you think? That size? Good enough. Roll it in the crushed nuts. Perfect. All right, there we go. I think we have 2, 4, 6. Whoops, now we have 5 because one just fell off. We now have 5 cream cheese balls. The moment of truth. Actually, looks pretty good. I think if I flip it right over, we'll try that first. I don't think it's gonna come out. Actually, I can't flip it right over. I was gonna flip this on top of it, but it's got lettuce leaves on it. So I think I'm just gonna have to flip this. But yeah, it's staying in there, it's not coming out. Let's take a sharp knife and go around the edge. I don't know why I said sharp. It doesn't need to be sharp, just a flat. I have a butter knife here. Oop. It's making unsectioning noises. Now the moment of truth. Still not moving. Okay, maybe now. Oh, I think I did it, but I did half. That's disappointing. Yep, I did. I just broke it. Well, let's see. Maybe I'll dip it in some warm water. We'll flip it over and then maybe we can repair it. I don't know. I saw it slip out there, so I think we have it. But I am going to try and flip the lettuce on top. Okay, it's gonna work this time. 1, 2, 3. I heard it. I don't know if you guys heard that. But, oh. It's not what I was expecting. There's some definite layers, like the tomato puree that slipped through, settled to the bottom of this, so now on the top. And then the gelatin is kind of at the top, which is the bottom of this now, if you guys can see those definite layers there. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but there certainly are layers. It's all right. It wants us to pipe some mayo with a piping bag. I don't have a piping bag, but I do have a little Ziploc, so we're gonna try and pipe a little mayo and make it pretty. Ooh, it's coming out fast. You can see it there. We have our cream cheese balls to garnish with. And we rescued that 6th one. It fell into the bowl that had the chopped up veggies for the sandwich. So we have 6 in there. So here is your tomato jelly. Time to try it out. I'm gonna take the ugly side here, the piece that fell off. And I assume it's supposed to have a little bit of mayo with it. And there we go. It's kind of fun. And I suppose we should take a cream cheese ball. We did put all that effort into making it. Actually, nothing smells super strong. I thought there would be a stronger tomato smell, but Not really. We're gonna go with the sandwich first, and then we'll go in with the tomato. That way, maybe with my, I don't know, in my mind, I'll be cleansing my palate from the veins of the shrimp with some acid in the tomatoes. Maybe that will help it out a little bit. Smells good. I forgot to put my microphone on. You know what? The flavor of that is pretty darn good. I tried to shut my mind off from the vein factor and just focus on what it tasted like. And it tasted pretty nice. Anytime you have peppers and onions and you've sauteed them with the tomatoes, you can't really go wrong with that flavor. My only complaint about this sandwich is that it's a little bit dry. And again, that might be from the bread that I'm using. I'm using a gluten-free bread. Maybe I should have put a little more butter on. Maybe they would have done that, known to put a little more butter and moisten that up a little bit. That might have bumped it up or bumped the dryness factor down, bumped the moisture factor up a little bit. But overall, the flavor of that is pretty nice. Really, this tomato jelly doesn't smell like much of anything. Let's take a little bite. Whoop. It kind of feels very appropriate for Halloween. This seems like something you would serve at Halloween. That doesn't taste bad. It tastes like a cold jelly tomato sandwich or tomato soup. I don't know about you, but in the summertime, I do really, really like a nice, fat, thick tomato sandwich. You take just some bread and take a nice, fat, like beef steak or a nice fat heirloom tomato, and you have a big thick slice and you put it in between bread. You put a little Miracle Whip. Some of you might put mayonnaise on there. And then when the bread is toasted, oh, it is so good. It reminds me of that a little bit, which, I mean, it's a tomato. Why wouldn't it remind you of that? But looking at it and thinking, oh, this is a cold, wiggly tomato jelly, it's not appetizing sounding, but I actually think it tastes pretty good. Let's try it with the cream cheese. Those pair great together. I don't know, I think this is pretty nice. I want to try it. Actually, I'm going to pull this sandwich open and spread a little tomato jelly on the shrimp sandwich. See what that tastes like. Oh, now my fingers are all messy. It's still a little dry. The gelatin kind of falls out the side. It doesn't stay, it's not thick enough to stay in there, but it pairs really well together. I like that. I'm glad you guys talked me into substituting the shrimp for the lobster, so we made these sandwiches. Although I am blaming you, brown-eyed girl, for eating the veins of these shrimp. If you guys want a say in what we're doing in a few weeks, we're going to be doing our next live on November 20th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I have it scheduled there already. I don't know if many of you have told me that YouTube isn't sending you notifications, so I guess just if that's something you want to be a part of and join us for the live and to vote on some of the next sandwiches and salads, almost said soups again, sandwiches and salads, give yourself a reminder and join us then. Join us next week where we will be making some of the things that you guys voted on, the apple and celery salad, and we're going to be doing the ham and currant jelly sandwiches, but we're going to be making a substitute for that currant jelly. Join us next week to find out what it is. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye. Whoa. No good. All right. Okay, we're good.